Here I am. It's 6:30 and it's time to get cooking. And I have already prepped a lot of what we're going to be doing tonight so that this is not going to be a long, arduous video and you're not going to have to watch me chop a bunch of stuff. I've already got some things on the stove, all really simple. The recipe is already up on my website, theveganpowder.com/recipes. You can find it if you do a search and you search for soy nugget stir fry, you'll find it. Otherwise, the link should be on the Vegan Powder page as well as in the Veganuary Facebook group, which if you're not part of, you should be, because it's been really fun cooking plant-based and getting to know people in the group by what they eat, because we just post pictures of what we eat and what brands we like and what we're making and ideas and questions about what the heck is this vegetable and things like that. So hopefully tonight will be a little bit enlightening. It's super easy. The recipe that you'll find on my website is a little bit different than what I'm doing tonight, but only just because I feel like doing a little bit different. I never do anything the same way twice, especially when I do a recipe. The only reason I have paid attention to quantities of ingredients is because I like to post them for you guys. So tonight we're doing veggies, soy nuggets, and peanut sauce in a stir fry situation over some rice. Now, I'm not going to show you this plated, but you're going to see all the prep, and I'll post a picture of everything plated later because I got to make my rice and I haven't done that yet. So anyways, you can put it over rice or rice noodles or vermicelli or whatever you like. Now they make these cool bean noodles, so you don't even have to eat the carbs from rice if you don't want to. There's lots of options. But most people are going to be wondering what the hell soy nuggets are. So this brand is called Just Like Chicken. I don't like the name, but at any rate, it's textured vegetable protein, which is just soy flour. It's a soy-based product, so if you're not a soy person, you can certainly omit this and still have a delicious stir fry without. But these are kind of cool for those of us who are working with omnivores or serious carnivores in our family who need something that is resembling some flesh food, and this does. You can see what it looks like. These are just little nuggets. It's very hard. You can't eat it in this state. I mean, you could, but you'd probably break a tooth. It needs to be rehydrated. So textured vegetable protein, no matter how you buy it, is always dehydrated. And you have to add it to some water, and I like to boil it with vegetable broth. So that's what I'm doing tonight. I already have a cup of this in a pot with vegetable broth boiling on the stove. And just so you know, there's 25 grams of protein in a serving size. A serving size is 5/8 of a cup dry. So it doesn't take too many of these to fill up a cup. It's probably, 5, 6, 8 of these tops that is going to give you, and they rehydrate into big chunks. So I looked for this product after we went to eat Thai food at a restaurant in Westerly called Tong Thai. It's wonderful. They're very vegan friendly. They know what vegan is, which is reassuring for those of us who have been eating this way a long time. And they have a soy nugget on their menu. So you can get soft tofu or fried tofu or soy nugget. And it's really delicious. They do it with all their different sauces. Anyway, so that's what made me want to think about getting the soy nuggets. And then I've got a ton of veggies. There's broccoli, red cabbage, red pepper, carrots. I've already chopped these things up. And some spinach. I have stuff I want to use out of the fridge. There's like a half a cup of fresh spinach here. And then I chopped up some onion. Those of you who know me know that we're a serious onion fanatic family, my husband and I. So there's a lot of onions in there. You can omit those if you're not an onion freak. I've got some minced garlic here and also some minced ginger, and that's going to be for the sauce. The garlic is going to go in with the veggies. So I've already got my sesame oil. I'm going to turn you guys this way so you can see my little stove. This is literally how big my kitchen is, guys, for those of you who are wondering. It's super tiny, but great for filming because I can literally reach the veggies on the counter and the stove and the fridge and the sink all at the same time. So I've put some sesame oil in my pan. I've got a big stir fry pan here. I'm going to turn that up onto medium heat. I've got my soy nuggets already boiling away, so I'm going to check on those. They've probably been boiling about 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes now. And I'll take a piece out so you can see it does rehydrate to be a decent size. So, and it becomes flexible, obviously. I'm going to let those go for a little while longer. You can't really overdo these. It's not rocket science. I don't measure out the water. I just throw some water in the pot, and I throw some vegetable broth, in the pot, and it boils. So not complicated. So in my soy, or rather sesame oil, which I've got going, I'm going to toss in some of my onions. And I'm probably not going to put this whole bowl of onions. Maybe just half. So that's probably a good like cup of chopped onions. I'm going to let these, I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit, and let these cook down for a couple minutes, just until they start to get a little bit translucent. Most of you who cook at all are familiar with that process. And in a couple minutes, when those are ready, I'm going to toss in my garlic and my harder vegetables like carrots. The broccoli I like to put in towards the end because we like a little bit more crispy broccoli in our family, but if you like your broccoli really soft, then you throw it in the beginning. So meanwhile, while the onions are cooking, I'm going to get started making my peanut sauce. So I'm going to turn you guys this way again so you can see what's going on for the sauce. I've got just a regular bowl and a whisk, and then I've got a bunch of ingredients. So obviously peanut sauce calls for peanut butter. This is a brand we like, although it's not organic. I wish it was. It is Smucker's, yeah. And it's basically peanuts, and that's it. There's no salt, there's no sugar. It's nice and simple and plain, so it's great for cooking because it doesn't have a sweet factor to it. And then I've also got some coconut milk. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with coconut milk, you can hear my onions sizzling, then you will not realize that there is a liquid layer and a hard layer. And so when you go to open the can, you think it's all this just like block of coconut. But it needs to get stirred up if you're looking to use it combined. A lot of recipes will call for just the hard, and you can see this scoops out and keeps its form. But if you dig down, there's a liquid layer. So I'm going to give this a quick little stir, just because I don't want all of the hard stuff from the coconut. I want it blended back into a milk state, and I'm going to add some of this to my peanut sauce. Now, the sauce recipe that I have up on the website does not include coconut oil or coconut milk at all, so you certainly can omit this, especially if you're my dad, who hates coconut. Anything, he hates the word coconut. Anything that is made mention of coconut makes him want to vomit. So for those of you who hate coconut, you can certainly omit this. But I've just mixed it up so it's much more gloppy. Then I've got actually some liquid aminos. Now you can substitute this out for soy sauce. I like the coconut liquid aminos because it's gluten-free, because regular soy sauce is made from wheat. And since I'm doing a gluten-free meal, that's good. A little bit of sriracha, a little bit of rice vinegar, and, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, we're adding water chestnuts to our veggies as well. And some lime. And then I've also got, I'm going to add a little bit of water to this as well. So if you guys have questions, just pop them up. I can see them popping up on the screen. Meanwhile, I'm going to give my onions a little bit of a stir. Those are looking pretty good. Another minute, and I'll go ahead and add my garlic. Meanwhile, like I said, the recipe for this is posted up on my website, so you can follow the instructions for quantities there. But I'm going to do probably about 1/4 cup of peanut butter. My husband would add the whole jar if he was making this. 3 or 4 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Couple tablespoons of the liquid aminos or soy sauce, or regular liquid aminos if you're using it. It comes out pretty slow, you gotta shake it. And then a little bit of this coconut milk. I'm gonna say, I'm probably doing 4 to 6 tablespoons. This is just gonna make the sauce more creamy. The other thing I have to add to this is my minced ginger. Let me tell you, it is an underrated thing, fresh ginger. You can find it in the produce section of your grocery store. If you never bought it before, it looks like a crazy root vegetable. I'll show you. It looks like this. It's pretty gnarly looking. You have to peel this outer layer off, and then you get this bright, brilliant yellow colored ginger. I use just a really fine grater to grate it down so it becomes sort of pulverized, and It's wonderful. There's nothing like fresh ginger. The flavor of it is far beyond any dried powdered ginger that you could possibly imagine. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to this. Probably 4 or 5 tablespoons of water. I've got my sriracha. Tablespoon maybe of sriracha. I always go back and taste and just see how things taste too. Especially if you're a family that doesn't like super spicy stuff, you just leave it out, or you can choose a milder hot sauce. Sriracha definitely has a punch, but the flavor profile is really bold, unlike, you know, Cholula, which is our other go-to hot sauce. So I'm just whisking this all up. If it's too thick, and this depends a lot of times on your actual peanut butter that you're using, if it's too thick, you just go ahead and add a little bit more water to thin it out. I'm going to go ahead and toss in my garlic into my onion mixture. And also my carrots and red peppers. Turn you guys around. I only had about half a red pepper in my fridge, so I would normally throw more in there, but that's all I had. And I'm going to turn this back down to medium. You want to make sure you don't burn your garlic, so I like to throw the garlic in after there's already been some things cooking in the pan and when I'm done cooking on high heat. That's kind of a key for garlic. And then I'm also going to throw in my purple cabbage. I'm going to hold off on my broccoli a little bit longer. I think I have some cabbage hiding under my broccoli. There we go. So already you can see, if you watched my live feed on Instagram, I talked about eating the rainbow. Plant-based, whole food plant-based should be about eating the rainbow. And all that means is make sure there's the rainbow of colors in your bowl for every meal. So you can see what this looks like. It's already really, really beautiful. And my soy nuggets are boiling away. I'm going to let those cook down a little bit longer. Meanwhile, I'm going to go back to my sauce and show you what the consistency of the sauce should look like. And you can have it be a little bit thinner, a little bit thicker, but it definitely should fall off of the whisk. It shouldn't be all sticky and gloppy onto the whisk. So I'm going to give this a taste, because you really can't cook without tasting your food. That's pretty good. I'm ready to add my lime. I love fresh lime juice too. Fresh lime in a recipe is always a bonus. So I'm going to add a quarter of a lime, the juice from a quarter of a lime. And a little bit more sriracha. Again, this is just to your personal taste buds. Give it another taste. That's pretty good. Alright, my veggies are looking really good. The key to stir fry, I find, is not overcooking things. So I'm going to toss in my broccoli. We're a family that likes to have our veggies crunchy, on the crunchy side. I'm going to wait and hold off on the spinach until the last minute because all that needs to do is wilt. And I'm going to go ahead and add my water chestnuts too. These cans are so small, so I just use the whole can. Really, there's not a lot of nutrient density in water chestnuts, just a little bit of fiber, very little carbs. But they have a good crunch. And they're white. And I don't have anything white besides the onions, but those cook down. Alright. So, in the recipe online, it calls for the soy nuggets to be taken out of boiling water and to be coated with a little cornstarch and thrown in a frying pan. But I'm skipping that step. It's really not necessary. Unless you want to add a little brown, a little crunch to the soy nuggets. But because we're doing the peanut sauce, I find it's kind of an unnecessary step. So, I'm going to move you guys over here. So you can see my cooking situation, hopefully. I love this pan, but the thing I don't love about this pan is you can't touch it, and it moves all over my stove, which is really irritating. But I still use it all the time. Right, so what I'm looking for is these bits of broccoli to just turn a really bright, vibrant green. You can kind of see the difference. This one is going towards that. And then I'm going to take my soy nuggets off of the heat. I'm going to drain out that vegetable broth. So you can see what these guys look like. Maybe don't try to pick it up with your bare hands, Lindsay, right? So these have a, yeah, exactly, when you can have some. Hi, Matt, you're supposed to be working. What are you doing? So they are, you can pull them apart. They shred sort of like chicken. They don't really taste like much. They're only flavored from the vegetable broth. They really are just about texture. Texture is key. So my broccoli is looking good. We're getting there. Another minute and I'll be able to add my spinach. And then we'll be good to go. Oops. Look at all those colors. There should be more red pepper because we're missing a little bit of red in there, but that's all right. I'm gonna let that cook a little bit longer. Meanwhile, check out the sauce. Right, you can see it's thick to an extent, but we want it to be runny because we're gonna pour it on those veggies and it needs to coat. So you don't want to be fighting with it to get it to coat, right? Okay, so back to the vegetables. I'm going to go ahead and toss in my spinach. And I'm just going to let that spinach sit on top because I just want it to wilt for a couple of minutes. I don't want to scorch it by tossing it to the bottom of the pan. And then I'm going to add these whole. Now you certainly could put these on a cutting board and chop them up into pieces, but I'm just going to add them whole. And then I'm going to sauce this up. Right, so the spinach is starting to get a little bit wilty. The other reason I like to lay the spinach on top first is because if you toss it in right away, it tends to just all glob together. So if you make sure it's sprinkled evenly on top, then the leaves stay separate. It works better, I find. Just my personal tips and tricks. And you can hear this sizzling. That's what stir fry should sound like, I think. And then I'm going to toss in my soy nuggets. This was only a cup and maybe a little bit of a heaping cup of soy nuggets, and this is how much it makes. So, oh, was it dark, the video? I wonder why. Oh, is that better? I don't know why it was dark. Oh, the conundrum of technology and iPhones. never ceases to give me issues. I'm going to give this a good stir. This is looking beautiful. My spinach is wilted. I've got all the rainbow colors in there, and now we're about to make it look not so rainbowy because we're going to put peanut sauce on. So one last little stir. I want to make sure I get every last bit. And I'm going to go ahead, I've turned my burner off. You don't need to really heat this up. The veggies are already hot, so the sauce will get hot naturally that way. And then just toss it all together. Right, so the prep for all these veggies, just chopping everything, was like about 10 minutes. And I think this video's been about 15 minutes. So this is not a long recipe to make. And it's delicious.